What's up? What's up? Now you know what time it is. Of course, that time again to do another movie review. Except I'm not doing reviews today. I'm doing my favorite movies that I liked of 2019. Now there's 8 of them that I really like. Some people do 10, but I just did 8 that really stood out to me that I really liked. So I'm starting from 8 to 1 being the least, and then my ultimate favorite. But they're all basically my favorite of 2019. So here we go. So my first one is The Farewell. This stars Aquafina, which is usually, she's usually well known for her comedic abilities and her comedic performances, but this is more dramatic for her, which is a departure from her than what we usually have seen her in and other projects, and she does a great job of it. I like the film. What it was about was about basically different cultures that come together and try to make it work. Her character finds out that her grandmother was misdiagnosed with a fatal illness and wants to go automatically back to China to try to just spend the last days with her, however long time she has left here being alive on Earth. And she deals with some prejudice, people thinking that she's really not Chinese because that's where she's from. Her family's from China, because she was basically raised and currently still living in America. Although she came to America from China at 6 years old, she's been mostly an American and basically speaks American English and a little bit of Chinese that a lot of people do correct on her, and they make it known that she's not speaking Chinese really well, and they don't consider her a real Chinese person. So she has to deal with that, and also the fact that her grandmother may not live that long. And it's just really well done. It's a very good dramatic piece. It's a little bit of comedy, but mostly drama, and it's done incredibly well. I like the way they establish and show the Chinese culture in China. So number 7 I have is Us. Now this is Jordan Peele's sophomore film from Get Out, which was remarkable, and this is no different. I really want to give the film an A, but it went down to B plus because I thought the ending of it could have been explained a lot more. I talked to one of my movie buddies who likes movies too, and he said, I think Us should have a prequel. And I have to admit, I really do. I agree with that. I wanted more from Us. I thought the doppelgangers and the tethered people were really interesting. I thought that I wanted to see more of why they exist and what they were doing for so many years. When were they created? Why were they created? What was the essential like idea and the concept for them? What were they supposed to really do in society? I thought that could explain a little bit more at the end, and that's why I went from an A to a B plus for me. But it's such a well crafted film. Jordan Peele has established himself just with 2 films. A great horror film director, but just a great director in general. He really does establish and show in his films a great deal of mystery. He creates these lifestyles and these worlds these characters live in, but there's something that lies beneath the surface. It's something just not right. And he really does create great mystery and a fog in his films that's just really well crafted. It's almost like when you meet a person that you don't like, you don't know what it is because you don't know them. When you find out what exactly it is, because you can't quite pinpoint it, and that's what I feel like his films are like when I experience it. But I mean, the cinematographer is great, the acting is outstanding. Lupita Nyong'o is remarkable in this film. I'm so glad she's getting acknowledged in the awards circuit in 2020. I'm so glad because I was going to be very disappointed if she didn't, but she has been nominated, and I'm hoping that she wins because she's well deserved. So that's my number 7 is that's my number 7 pick. My number 6 film that I chosen of 2019 that I really liked is Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, Marvel Studios have established themselves as very bankable and lucrative, but they made some films that are basically all of them are really heartfelt and really pull at your emotions and mentally. And they've done a really good job at establishing a lot of characters, and Spider-Man is no exception. I like this Spider-Man, the Marvel Studios Spider-Man adaptation really well because it's closest to the comic book. They're keeping him as a kid, as he mostly is in the comic books, and they're introducing, which they're already been established in the comic books, but we're seeing them on the big screen, different new villains. Because I feel like a lot of studios, and basically all the studios, they pretty much use the same villains, and so we got introduced to Mysterio on the big screen, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, and he does such a great job. The playfulness, but there's a danger too that I mean, Spider-Man almost gets killed seriously twice in this film, and I really liked that there was a bit of edge here. Like it wasn't like the playfulness, even though it was that edge too in the first Homecoming with Michael Keaton playing the villain. but it just is taken to another level. I thought it was really well done. I really enjoyed Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I think he's just perfect, really, really perfect. The relationships are just taken to another level, kid level, but just to another level. You can see them maturing. The snap is mentioned in the film. Spoiler alert: it's called the blip, and it shows the residue and the aftermath of the snap, which I thought was done just brilliantly. I really, really enjoyed this Spider-Man a great deal, and I'm hoping that in the future that Tom Holland will continue at least for two more solo Spider-Mans. We have one coming in July 6th, 2021, I believe. But I know July 5th or July 6th of 2021. And I definitely will be there to watch it and continue on with the saga. So that is my number seventh film, which is Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, my number fifth film is Joker. Now, this Joker is played by Joaquin Phoenix. And this, I have to say, this is the Joker I've been looking for since the 1989 one came out with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, who played the Joker, and Michael Keaton playing Batman. This is the type of Batman I've been looking forward to for 30 years now. 1989 is 2019. For 30 years now, I've always looked at and viewed Joker as a psychologically disturbed character. And with the Joker solo film, with Joaquin Phoenix playing it, this shows that the production really, really does establish why the Joker is a sociopath and a slash criminal, or just sociopathic criminal. Period. They do such a good job of seeing his transformation into the Joker and his descendant into just being this menacing antagonist to future Batman. It's so well done. So well done. And you understand why he would be a criminal completely. The city he lives in is corrupt, it's unempathetic, it's cruel, and he becomes a product of that. He becomes just like other people because there is no sympathy for him. And it just does it so well. It does it so well. I really, really enjoyed it. I got a little bit of that sinister Joker with Heath Ledger, who played in The Dark Knight. But this film takes it to the ultimate level of what I always thought of Batman, of Joker being, is a psychologically disturbed character. It did not disappoint at all. It's a great film. So that's my number five pick is Joker. Now my number four pick is an animated film, which is Toy Story 4. I really, really enjoyed this film so much. I haven't seen the first three. I've only seen this one. But not only is it beautifully created, it looks so gorgeous. Every single shot looks so real and so clear and so beautiful. But this film is such a heartfelt, personal, emotionally invested film. The way it establishes itself with toys who are owned by humans, by kids, and toys who are lost toys. They refer to as lost toys, but the toys are on their own. You could tell the differentiation of just actions, their behavior, and just their experience. And it was so well done. And how these toys have a need to feel like they belong. Like, why was I created? They literally say, we were created to make somebody happy, to be a toy for a child, and they're just trying their best to fulfill that need. And it was just such a joy. Just all the shots from the antique store to the carnival, scene, it was just beautifully done. I really, really had a great time watching this film, and all the voices that plays the characters, all the famous people who plays the characters, it fit in so well with the toys need to belong to a kid to make them happy. I just thought it was well done. So that's my number four film is Toy Story 4. Now, my number three film, we're getting into the films that are my higher ranking. And my number three film, which is, you might be surprised. You wouldn't be surprised in my top three or my top five, but you'll be surprised it's number three because it's a film that made a lot of noise at the box office. It's a very successful, very high ranking film on most people's lists. But I put it at number three, which is another Marvel cinematic film, Avengers Endgame. Now, I have to say, this film was beyond just watching it as an audience member, as a fan. It was an experience. There were so many Marvel fans in the audience while I was watching. I was with my friend who's a big movie buff like me, and like everybody else in the film who knows comic books. And this was a great experience. It was like being at the Super Bowl, but for films. Everybody's reactions to it was just mind blowing, and understandably so. I really liked Infinity War that came out in last year, 2018. But I was more interested in the aftermath and the residue and the effect of the snap, what how it would have on the characters, basically. And they did such a wonderful job just showing the aftermath. It was such a tearjerker in so many parts in that film where you felt like this it was a really great loss. Like Thanos really caused some damage. I thought that they could have maybe expanded more on what the political system is like. They did mention like how environmental wise the world it was better off with half of the population gone, less pollution, less electricity, less energy being used. But I thought they could expand it just a little bit more on political and economic status. But what they did, and even religion too, but what they did was well done. Like you really felt like it was a great loss. And the way that they redeemed themselves by getting back at Thanos was just, oh my God, it was just, it's what comic books are made of. They created such a great comic book moment. Like it was just, I mean, it was just outstanding. I really, really enjoyed this film, and it made me so excited the way it ended. It ended in so many directions. It's so many ways that the MCU could go. Even with the continuation of Spider-Man from Home, it's a continuation of how many directions the MCU could go and go in so many just directions, billions of different directions, and it made me so excited. And I was so excited to be a part of that experience where I saw all those characters being together and just kicking butt. You know, a part of the reason why comic book films, I believe, were created was for a sense of hope and just being larger than life and just being like almost like an inspiration of what you can be, in life. You know what I'm saying? You could be that strong person, you could be that hero in your own communities and in your own life. And I just think they did such a good job. It was just so well done. I really enjoyed Avengers Endgame. I really am. I'm looking forward to all the other Marvel films in the future in the MCU because they're doing such an amazing job, regardless of what Martin Scorsese says and Francis Ford Coppola. There are some great films. You can't really judge material if you've never watched it. I'm just saying. Anyways, so my number two, this brings me to my last two. My number two film that I really liked of 2019 is Jexy. Now, this movie stars Adam Devine, Alexander Shipp. It's a straight comedy about a guy who's obsessed with his smartphone, so much so he has no friends, no love life, no type of social life, period, and relies everything and does everything through his smartphone. And the smartphone is so smart that it has its own personality, own way of thinking, completely takes advantage of this person when he purchases a new phone because he drops his phone accidentally when he bumps into this really cute girl, which ends up being his love interest in the film. But his film was saying when she was analyzing his data from his previous phone in the cloud, but she asks him permission first. She's saying, you don't do anything. You need to change it up. So she forces him to get out of his own way. So much so he doesn't even notice the kind of city, how beautiful the city he lives in, which was photographed beautifully in San Francisco, and she forces him basically to get out of his own way. I think this is the most relevant film of the 21st century. Everybody's obsessed with their cell phone, like I said in a previous review of this movie. Everybody's obsessed with their cell phone. I think this is a direct message and a direct representation of that. Everybody's obsessed with it and needs to get off their phone and actually talk to people. And I thought it was just so done. When I left this film, I've left feeling so great. Like I really do. I feel like this is the most relevant film of the 21st century. I thought it was well done and I really, really enjoyed this film. So that's my number two film. Now, my number one film that I really enjoyed when I was at the movie theater and in general, I thought it was so done. It's like a B movie, but done really, really well in an A plus way. And my number one pick is Crawl. Crawl was so well done and so much fun. Like you're completely on edge the whole time. It was such an enjoyment watching that film. Like it was just so much going on. It's so well done. There's so many different plot points that's so relevant to the actual film. and just this premise and the synopsis and the plot, it was just so fun. The visual effects are really, really good, even though they're probably on the cheaper end, but they looked amazing. The acting is really good. It just keeps you on the edge. And I really like at the end where they have this song called "See You Later, Alligator." What you doing, crocodile? Like it was just so fit, like the whole tone and everything of the film. It's a really, really good film, and I really surprisingly enjoyed watching this film. When I saw the previews, I was excited, but I was gonna go see it anyway because I love all types of films. But just watching it, it was just a joy watching it. So that's my 8 films. Starting from 8 again, it is Farewell. Number 7 is Us. Number 6 is Spider-Man Far From Home. Number 5 is Joker. Number 4 is Toy Story 4. Number 3 is Avengers Endgame. Number 2 is Jexy. And number 1 is Crawl. So these are my favorite films of 2019. And I just wanted to make a video about it and talk about it. Now, I will be uploading reviews regularly on a weekly basis, so look out for my videos. If you do like what you see, please subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next movie review.